Mic check. All right, y'all. We got a very good topic to talk about today. Parents missing in action. And what could some of the negative consequences be for parents of missing in action? We're going to get started here in just a second. If you guys have comments, questions, make sure you tap in because we listen to the comments right here. We want this to be an interactive thing. So the topic today is parents missing in action. And what are some of the negative consequences? My name is Johnny, and this is the Johnny Live. How many of us grew up with both parents in the household? Missing in action. A mom and dad. How many of us grew up with like our mom and dad in the household? I think the percentage was higher years back, but anymore, it's a lot of single households. You hear a lot about people saying they don't need a man, female saying they don't need a man, and they just want to be single. So you have a lot of single households, which means that the mom and the dad are raising the child separately. Now, sometimes when this happens, you may have like the dad that's not really into helping to raise his kid, right? Kind of taking off, maybe you start another family. Now, that can obviously have some very negative effects on the way that the child is raised, whether it's a male or female, because I honestly believe that child needs his father in his life. I used to say especially a man, but no, especially a female. A female needs her dad in her life as well, that father figure. If that father figure is not present, they may look for someone else to be that father figure. And that can be a very negative effect on the way that child is raised. Right? Statistically, they say that males, boys, get in more trouble, have a more troubled childhood than they would if a male was in their life. That's not me saying that. That's statistics. How many of y'all believe that? How many of you believe that a male child needs his father in his life? You know, you have things like child support, things like that, that can kind of, some instances, take the guy farther out of the child's life because of the financial situation now that the male's been placed in. So some of those can be reasons why the father's not in the child's life. I'm saying could be, not all the time, but some of those can kind of play a role in that. The reason why I even brought this subject up is someone had brought it to me earlier this week. They talked about the resentment of not having their father in their life. And not only that, kind of hearing about the father's new life, as far as him driving nice cars, getting money, and them not being able to see any of that. It took me back. Like, because I don't think a child ever really gets over that. I mean, they move on to better their life, but it's not something they really ever get over. So that could be one negative effect. By having the dad leave and not be in the household or not be in their life, that can lead on to negative effects, as even when they get an adult, or even when they start having their own kids. I'm not even really sure even studies have been done about this, as far as what they go through when they get to be an adult. Let me ask you this. For all the single dads out there, is it important for you to be in your kid's life, even if you're not with the mom? Is that important? Shout out to James. And like, that brother was telling me the things he used to do to be in his child's life. So some guys they do whatever they have to do to be in their child's life, which I think is huge, a huge sacrifice. But then you have some parents that it's not really a big importance to them. They got other things going on. You start to see all of these things on, like, even social media, how these kids are, even the cuss challenge. I never really got into that. I didn't really want to see it, but hearing about these parents having a cuss challenge with their kids, seeing if their kids are on cuss and things like that. Man, when I was growing up, we couldn't even say lie. You were lying. We had to say fibbing. There were certain things we couldn't even say. And it's funny to think of those things nowadays. Like, we couldn't, dang. You know what I'm saying? You was restricted to saying certain words. It just was unheard of, saying in front of your parents. And nowadays you got kids cussing in front of their parents. It's a different world that we live in. It's like the respect is gone. And if it's not gone, it's leaving. I always wonder if we could ever get back to the way that it was. Like, you have Trump saying out here, make America great again. I mean, the Black community need to be talking about make our families great again. Make the community great again. The way that it was. There's a poet this month or this week was talking about how we used to raise our kids, and even if the neighbors would discipline the kids, if it was need be. We talk about that community. That's a lot of things we talk about. It takes a village, a community to raise a child. I honestly believe that village is gone. I talk to a lot of neighbors and stuff every day, and some people don't even know their neighbors. Never met them. It's not even important to know my neighbors anymore. I just read on Facebook where somebody had their car stolen within the last hour or so. So kids are still out here. Look, I'm looking for my stuff. When I said I'm looking for my keys. Kids are still out here stealing cars. It's only getting worse. One thing I was thinking about is like I hear a lot of people talking about it's the summertime. Yeah, I'm gonna get outside. I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna be outside and kick it. But what y'all gotta understand is like these kids are thinking the same thing. They thinking about the summertime too. This is one of the rare summers I can remember where everybody talking about, yeah, we finna be outside, we finna be kicking it. We ain't, what is that gonna look like? Everybody just trying to. Well, our main focus is not on the kids anymore. So what is that gonna look like? I think these kids are gonna start. I mean, just wilding out, just wilding out. This summer, I think, is gonna be a really interesting summer because a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have changed. Parents really need to take care and understand what their kids are dealing with. Just like with your cell phones, with the kids' cell phones, you have to understand what your kids are looking at and what they're getting into and what's being pushed on them. What's that saying? An idle mind is a devil's playground. That's what we're talking about. Because if your child is not always constantly doing something, something is, taking up their time and their mind, imagine the type of stuff that they'll be engaged in, the type of influence people and things can have over them. And in a sense, like social media is raising our kids. I remember it used to be like Barney or Sesame Street and things like that. It's TikTok. TikTok is raising our kids. I mean, there's a filter on it for certain things, but I mean, come on, y'all. A lot of stuff gets through to TikTok. A lot of stuff gets through to YouTube, and these are the things that are raising our kids. These are areas that are not regulated by the government. TikTok challenges and shit like that. These things are regulated by the government, so anything can get through. I'm just saying, y'all, we got to do a better job with our kids. We got to start paying attention to what our kids are looking at on their phone. That's up to us. We have to take time out to do that, not nobody else, because nobody else is going to. It's nobody else's job, not the teacher, not the government. In most cases, it's us, our job as a parent. It's more about just giving our kids gifts and be like, here, go ahead and do what you do. Or giving them an iPhone and go ahead and do what you do. We have got to be there to understand what they're going through, what concerns they have, what problems, what issues they have in life. If you're going to be a parent, those are some of your responsibilities, duties to do as a parent. Is to understand what your kids are looking at, what they have going on. You can't just turn off and put up blinders because you and your kids will pay for that in the future. So you have to deal with it now, in the moment. So let's keep that in mind, y'all. It's about to be summertime. These kids gonna be out here. Adults gonna be out here. We gotta figure this thing out, y'all. There's gonna be more cars stolen, more houses broken into, more of the just the bullshit. the best way to deal with it is to jump on it now. And I'm not saying try to look for everybody's kid. I mean, if you're a single person out here, or I'm saying you don't have kids, it may be good for you to get involved in kids' life. Start a basketball program, or take some kids to a basketball program. But not turn a blind eye. That's the biggest thing, is not to turn a blind eye. But if you're a parent, make sure that you know what your kids got going on. I'm not saying that you got to monitor them 24/7, but just have an idea of what's going on. Have conversations with them. Grand Theft Auto can't be their parent raising them, because what they're gonna do is steal cars. So let's keep those things in mind, y'all. It's all about the kids. What Whitney said, I believe our children are the future. That's still true to this day, because they are the future. If we don't raise them right now, not only they're gonna have a hard future, we're gonna have a hard future. What they do is gonna affect us eventually. Just keep those things in mind, y'all. I'm gonna wrap this up and get out of here. Just wanted to jump back on because I haven't been on in a while. We've been doing some things in the studio, getting stuff right. But we definitely gonna try to come back on more and more. And we got guests that we have that are going to be popping up on the show very soon. So make sure that y'all tap in and leave your comments. Even if you didn't get no comments in this time, leave your comments. Leave your questions. We can answer them. Even at a different date. One of my other podcasts, I'll come back on and answer some of your questions. But we need your support. If you want to support, you can go to Facebook, you can go to YouTube, subscribe. You can go to Twitter, follow. So all of those platforms. And if you want to donate or support financially, you go to $DJC Kid 4. So you can bring more programs on like this. And it's about talking about it. That's the first thing, is to talk about it. And that's what this is. This is a conversation piece so we can talk about it. Talk about our communities and what we need to do. Let me do this real quick. I'm going to see. We are going to try to go live. Let me take a look here. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm going to try to do this live here. Give me 1 second. I want to move around the studio so y'all can kind of see. What we're doing here. We're wrapping it up, y'all. I need to figure something out here. So if you just tapped in,
Okay.
Trying to do a
We're trying
live
to do a
feed,
live feed,
so we just trying to
so we
make
just
sure
trying to make sure
everything's
everything's
good.
good. All right,
All right,
we're gonna
we're
wrap
gonna
this
wrap
up,
this
y'all. We'll
up, y'all.
come
We'll
back.
come back.
How
How
about
about
y'all
y'all
later?
later?